Hey, it's Joe, and I forgot to charge my 3DS. I had to go destroy my room looking for my charger, because I didn't know where it was. I haven't really used this in a while. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Can I Draw on This? This series where I try to draw something I would usually draw on my computer, but using things that either aren't typically used for art, old outdated tech, or obscure tech. In this episode, I'm gonna see if I can draw on the Nintendo 3DS, and I'm gonna be using the application Colors 3D. I actually used to use this to make digital art from 2014 to 2016. You can see a preview of an old drawing I did back then on the top screen. This was before I got a tablet to draw on my computer. I actually used to use my old purple original 3DS, but then I got this red new 3DS XL because the touch screen actually started to get very scratched from me drawing with it all the time. So I decided to start with the drawing this time. I'll test some of the tools and stuff later, since I've actually used this before to make art on. I started using a thick brush for the line art, and I cleaned it up with the eraser, trying to get my lines the smoothest looking as possible. Also, both my cats decided to make an appearance here. You'll see Toasty decides to take a nap on the table in the background, and Oreo has an off-screen cameo where he's making crying noises staring at the reflection of my DS screens on the ceiling.
What's wrong?
Cry.
He sees the reflection of my DS screen on the ceiling.
Drawing on this wasn't too bad. I was able to rest my hand on the side of the DS most of the time, but sometimes my hand would still touch the screen, making a big line across the drawing. And sometimes my hand would hit one of the buttons that was for the eyedropper tool, and it would change the color of my brush. So that was annoying. I also had a hard time drawing the buttons on the DS. I found it's hard to draw tiny details. I don't know if this just needs calibrated or what, but it didn't seem that responsive to the pen when drawing small details. Drawing with a thicker brush seemed easier than drawing with a thin brush. For coloring, I had to color everything in with the brush. There is no paint bucket tool on this game. Also, I didn't have samples of my usual color palette for this, so I just had to try to get the colors as close as I could. For the next episode, I need to figure out how to import a photo so I can use the correct colors next time. I hate having to guess. I had to keep redoing the hair and skin because they kept not looking right. This was uncomfortable to hold after a while. My thumb was starting to hurt. I had to keep putting the DS down and stretching my hand. Also, why did I think it was a good idea to put the undo button on the right shoulder button? That's hard to press when I'm holding the stylus in my right hand. I don't remember doing this, but I think you can choose what all the buttons do, so I'm pretty sure I chose all these. Maybe this was more convenient on the tiny original 3DS, but these are hard to use on the 3DS XL. They're supposed to be looking up at the floating 3DS. It kinda just looks like the DS is sitting on their head. So now is the part of the video where I give this setup a rating. Can I draw on this 3DS? For hardware, obviously it is possible to draw with a 3DS. I mean, I did it for 2 years before I got a tablet. But is it convenient? No. It's convenient being able to take it places easily since it's small, but the screens are too small. And the way my hand would touch the screen and put huge lines across my masterpiece was very annoying. So I'm giving hardware a 2 out of 5. For software, it's okay. It's a simple drawing application. It's been out for almost 10 years now. It was released in 2012, so there's no serious bugs in it. But I hate how sometimes I would press undo and it freezes up and is loading for a long time before it finally undoes. It's the most annoying thing ever. I'm sitting there waiting forever for it to load. I forgot it did that. I don't know how I put up with this back then. This was making me so mad as I was filming this. Software gets a 3 out of 5. For controls, it lets you configure them yourself. I actually forgot I'm the idiot that chose this awful button configuration. Maybe I'll switch the buttons up and revisit this in a future video. So controls gets a 5 out of 5 since you can choose yourself what the buttons do. For tools, this game is very basic. It doesn't have as many options as the newer Switch version does. There's only 3 brushes, 1 eraser, and 2 sliders. 1 for the brush size and 1 for opacity. I don't really like when drawing applications just give you a slider and not a number for the size. It makes it hard to get the brush to the size I had previously. Also, the eraser and brush are both the same size. So if I increase the eraser size, then I have to adjust the size again when I switch back to the brush. You do get layers, but only 5. I also forgot you can copy, paste, and delete layers, so that would have been helpful earlier. And there's no paint bucket tool, so I had to color everything in with the brush. So I give tools a 3 out of 5. And for saving, it lets you save your drawing to the SD card in your 3DS. If you have an original 3DS or 3DS XL, it's more convenient, since there's a flap on the side where the SD card goes. But on the new 3DS and new 3DS XL, you have to unscrew the back of the console and take the back off to access the SD card. What I actually used to do to get my art off without removing the SD card was I would go on the 3DS internet browser and I would log into Facebook, back when I used to use Facebook, and I would send a message to myself because it let you attach images saved to your DS through the browser. So then I would go and save them to my phone from there. I'm giving saving a 3 out of 5 because it's inconvenient for people with a new 3DS or new 3DS XL to have to get out a screwdriver to remove the back cover to get to the SD card, if they want to put the SD card in a computer to get the files off of it. But you can always do what I did and use the 3DS browser. So the total score I give the 3DS is a 16 out of 25. I feel like maybe I would have had a better experience with this if I knew about being able to reprogram the buttons earlier. That would have made this go a little smoother. I thought I'd remember everything about this since I've used it before, but I forgot 2016 was 5 years ago, so it's been a while, and I've obviously forgotten everything. Now I wish I looked through all the tools before I did the drawing. This just means I might have to revisit this software in the future. The cost of Colors 3D is $6.99 US, and I originally paid $99 for my 3DS when I got it from Best Buy back in 2013. But the 3DS is not sold anymore, so if you don't already have one, you will need to find one online, and the cost of that will vary. So, overall, this was kind of fun. Very nostalgic. Brought back a lot of memories. I might be able to use this to draw again if I change the buttons up. No more tools on ABXY, and no more undo button on the right shoulder button. Those were annoying. And I should put the eraser on one of the buttons too. Yeah, this was fun. If you liked this video, then don't forget to hit like. And if you want to see more videos in this series, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified when I upload next. I'm thinking on doing a new episode of Can I Draw on This every other week. The weeks in between I'll do a different kind of art video, and I usually upload every Saturday around 5 p.m. Eastern Time, so look out for that. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.